Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Forensic Focus. I'm your host, Charles Amodio with FAZ Forensics. At FAZ Forensics, we specialize in forensic accounting and business valuation. When answers matter, FAZ delivers. Today I'm with my colleague, Megan Kelly. Hey, Megan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So before we jumped on, you were talking about your upcoming trip to Spain.
Yeah.
Pretty
Pretty
exciting.
excited about it. Yeah, it's if anyone has caught the last episode, I probably mentioned going to the Olympics. So it makes it, I feel like when I talk about this, I'm coming across as like this world traveler, but I'm really, I don't, this is exciting for me. I feel like I am not as well traveled as I would like to be. So I'm excited to get to Spain and use my very limited Spanish speaking skills.
That's awesome. It's funny. I took a lot of Spanish in high school. I took some Spanish in college as well. Matter of fact, I think my senior year, the class I took, you couldn't speak English in the class. Obviously, they wanted you to speak Spanish, and But I've never been to Spain. So
I joke I was the vice president of Spanish Honor Society in high school. But when
okay,
when you don't practice it,
right,
you lose it like any other skill. So
yeah.
it's something that I'd like to, maybe I can make that a goal for 2025 to improve my Spanish speaking skills.
There you go. There you go. No, that's pretty cool though. That's exciting. So you're going away for a week?
Hmm.
Yeah, nice. And how's the weather over there this time of year?
It's it's actually going to be pretty warm, and I don't know if that's normal for them. It's going to be upper 60s every day,
Yeah.
and I know we were talking about that parts of Spain are unfortunately experiencing some pretty bad flooding, but
Yes.
it seems like for the most part it's going to be mostly sunny and upper 60s while I'm there. So pretty similar to what the weather's been like here recently. I am unfortunately missing my fall softball league championship that's on Sunday, but
Okay.
I think they'll be
That's
fine without me.
that's a pretty big deal. I know, man. I know how much you love softball. That's a pretty big deal. So
It is. I'm truthfully, I'm very aggravated because with this season, we usually have so many rainouts every year, and we end up playing through, kind of middle to the end of November. But
oh wow.
this
Okay.
year we're in a pretty bad drought. We
Yeah.
haven't had measurable rain in weeks. So we've only had one rainout, which pushed the championship back to
Yeah.
this coming weekend. So I'm going to miss it, but my teammates are more than capable. And last year we lost the championship for the first time in years, like
Okay.
actual years.
Okay.
So we're hoping to redeem ourselves this season, and I think we can do it.
All right. All right. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I mean, even today it's like Halloween, right? Today's
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 80 degrees here
I
in
know.
Saratoga Springs, and I know you're in Hoboken, obviously,
Hmm.
and it's got to be probably even warmer than that in Hoboken.
My computer says 82. So
82. Okay. Yeah, I had to put my glasses on, but I think mine are probably around the same thing. Yeah. Actually, mine's I don't know what mine says. It says 50 degrees and partly cloudy, but I think that's
oh
something
yeah,
else.
I don't think that's right.
That's not right. That's not right. So
Yeah, the kids will start coming in probably 50 minutes.
okay.
There's a parade in Hoboken.
Nice.
Down the kind of the main street in town for the kids. And then
Yeah.
once the parade is over, it's mayhem.
It's an adult party after that, right?
I mean, there are so many kids in this town,
Yeah.
which is it's great.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of activities for children. I don't personally have kids, but it's for people that do have kids. It seems like a great place to live, and we'll probably see. I'm going to a friend's place they live around the corner from me, and they'll probably see 1,000 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had to buy a lot of candy.
Yeah. Yeah. My young daughters will be home this afternoon, and looking forward to that. We had our neighborhood parade this weekend, We do it every year, and then they do the regular trick or treating tonight, which it's great because the weather's so nice.
Yeah.
They can wear their costume without freezing, and we're putting a heavy coat on. I mean, I remember years where it snowed, and
Hmm.
got some light snow, or it's been really cold out. So it's good for them, and I tell you, as much as they enjoy going out and getting candy, they love handing out candy and seeing all the
Yeah.
kids with their costumes. So we get a lot of kids because we have our development's a smaller development, but it connects to a larger development, and we actually
Okay.
get kids from other areas come in, other more rural areas they come in, so which is
Right.
fine, and it's fun. It's I my wife's a school teacher, so she loves Halloween. She dressed up today.
Nice.
She was Kermit the Frog today, so
That's awesome.
she's really into it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's really into it. I'd show a picture on the screen, but she'd probably kill me, so I won't do that. I won't do that.
It's
It's all
generous.
good. So, you obviously going away tomorrow. How's
Hmm.
work going? You working on anything interesting lately?
Yeah, it's great. I only started with the firm in July, so it takes a little bit of time to get used to not only the cases, but the people that you're working with and how everybody kind of does things differently. But for me, it feels like it's been a very smooth transition.
Great.
And some of the projects I'm working on right now are, we've got a divorce engagement where, we're tracing marital funds, um, a pretty large shareholder dispute where it's kind of an accounting of this company and how funds moved throughout the different bank accounts and sales of assets that were held by the company and where the proceeds went and if they were distributed properly. That's a
Okay.
pretty large project. And another shareholder dispute that kind of just wrapped up that was looking through the books and records of the business and trying to identify any discretionary expenditures by um, ownership of the company and comparing that to typical operations of the business and seeing if there was anything that was kind of out of place. So yeah, it's it's interesting to see how you go from one company to another company if things are that different, and this is all work that's just very similar to what I've done in the past. So that's been great for me, I think, as a new person, because it hasn't really been that difficult to kind of step into this role. And these are all projects that had already been kind of started before I came on. So, you're a little nervous when you start at a new place and then you have to jump into a project that's already kind of started. But
Yeah.
I felt like it was easy to get my feet under me and moving forward because we've got such a great team,
Yeah.
and it's also work that I've been doing my whole career, so it was easy to kind of get into the weeds a little bit.
Okay. Seems like more and more of those shareholder disputes come up in projects.
Hmm.
It's amazing. I mean, it's just you know. You go
Yeah.
into business with somebody. I mean, you think you know somebody,
I
and
know.
unfortunately, well, you know as well as I do. And I mean, I obviously I focus on more on lost profits and economic damage analysis, but in some of the cases that I've had exposure to, it's incredible to watch, you know, um, owners of a business and siblings,
Hmm.
uh, what people will do, over money. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just incredible.
And it's tough on the shareholder dispute side because a lot of times if a business is relatively new, when you're starting a company, you don't necessarily have all of the correct framework in place. So a lot of times we'll get engaged on these jobs and ask for, a copy of an operating agreement or a shareholder agreement, and they don't have one. Um, and it's really not uncommon to see that when you're doing this kind of job, and that kind
That's a
of
good
is
point.
what gets us involved in the first place because they don't have these safeguards in place
Yeah.
to begin with. So, you get on these shareholder disputes. It's like, well, what's your policy for expense reimbursement? What's your policy for this? And they don't have
Okay.
any. And that's a big pitfall that we see um, and that business owners should be aware of that when even if you're established, I mean, you can contact an attorney and get documents drawn up so that, not like I'm trying to drive business away from us, but I don't like to see people in these situations either. And sometimes it's easier to get out of them if you have
Yeah,
these documents in place.
right, right. Yeah, it is, unfortunately, it's far too common that companies don't have these documents in place and these
Hmm.
safeguards and, um, you know, obviously these are why we also get these types of jobs and
Yeah.
these situations present itself. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you really got to do your due diligence, as a business owner, as,
Hmm.
anytime you go in a partnership with anybody. I mean, it's all, you know, as much as you'd like to trust people, like with a handshake and word of mouth and all that
Yeah.
stuff, it's always good to dot your I's, cross your T's, right?
I know. I was joking with Paul that, you know, uh, from doing so many shareholder disputes over my career, it makes me never want to go into business with anybody. It's just not like I plan to. I don't have any intention of going to striking up a business with somebody right now, but it's just that's what most of my work has been recently is shareholder disputes, that
Yeah,
or marital disputes, which are
right.
kind of one and the same when you think about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we call them either personal divorces or business divorces, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's just, and, it's amazing because, like I said, in the again, I've worked on a number of engagements over the years, and on the forensic side, not as many as obviously on the economic damage side, but most of them have been surrounded by shareholder disputes, and
Hmm.
just just watching the some of the pettiness. I mean, it's again, it's
Yeah.
no different than spouses getting divorced and
Hmm.
just a lot of throwing mud at each
There's a lot of
other.
emotion. Yeah.
A lot of emotion, a lot of emotion. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I imagine, and I've been involved in some matrimonial cases, and very limited, but I know that obviously those are very emotional.
Yeah.
Bring kids in a picture, it's very emotional, but um, those business divorces, they're emotional too, because that's your
Hmm.
livelihood, and um, you know, I you know, I guess is any suggestions that you have for business owners that are, obviously you just mentioned, getting agreements in place. Any other suggestions you have for, business owners to prevent this type of issue going forward, or?
Say making sure that you have strong internal controls. And if you're not sure, you can always reach out to someone like us where we can review your internal controls and identify areas of weakness. Um, Having regular meetings with your business owners and documenting those meetings and making sure that if you do have a shareholder or operating agreement in place, following it. I mean, there's so many times that we see that an agreement is in place, but then that the way that the business is being operated is contrary to what the agreement states. And whether that has to do with distributions or how frequently meetings are held, things like that. It just make sure that if you do have an agreement, you're following it. I think that's very important too. Um, but I'd say a big thing is your internal controls, making sure that you have separation of duties. And I know that's hard for small businesses to have that, but there are ways that you can work within your internal controls to make sure that, when it comes to handling of money or approving certain, whether it's invoices, expenses, things like that, making sure there's some kind of process in place so that one person doesn't have too much power across the board.
Which makes sense, because I know in a lot of the shareholder disputes I've gotten involved in, you have one owner that's more involved in the business and the day to day than the
Hmm.
other owner, right? And they feel that the other owner is taking advantage of them, and then obviously we get involved, and
Yeah, that's basically every shareholder dispute I can think of off the top of my head that I've worked on. There's usually one owner that's involved in the day-to-day operations, the other one isn't, And then the one that isn't is all of a sudden surprised by what they're seeing. So if you have quarterly meetings where you share financials, and it could be an hour meeting where you talk about the state of the business and just communicate with each other. I think that could really help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are good suggestions. It's interesting. I know one of the cases I've worked on, you had one business owner, one owner of the business was more on the, marketing and business development side, and the other was more on the operations side. So they were both very involved in the business. But I think the guy that was doing most of the, rainmaking and bringing in the business felt that he wasn't getting his fair share. And he wanted more. And
Yeah.
and so I know that in that case that I worked on, he ended up buying the other owner out. And so it was a shareholders group, but it wasn't overly, it was pretty amicable. It's
Right.
just, I think more of a philosophical thing, like, hey, listen, I'm doing all this work, and I'm bringing all this work. I should be compensated, and you're not. Well, I think, and they basically came to the agreement that they need to, maybe they need to go different directions and stuff like that, and that's what ended up happening was, and the one owner bought the other owner out, and they, went on from there. So things seem to be in a good place for the one business owner. The other individual who we represented, or were working for the one individual that was purchasing the business. So we know how he's doing. The other guy,
Right.
I think he landed on his feet somewhere. I know he's doing. I mean, obviously he got the payout from the business, and so we ended up doing a valuation on that case. But yeah, just interesting. Every situation's unique, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times, since you mentioned it, a lot of the shareholder disputes that I have worked on result in a business valuation being performed and some kind of buyout at the end of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty common.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I know as we have agreements in place and things like that. It always makes me think about, you know, our situation, our firm situation, and yeah, I think we've done a good job getting things in place, and we meet on a regular basis, and all the things that you talk about, I think we do a pretty good job of. So that's good.
Good.
That's good to know, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
good to know. So there's one thing I want to bring up today. I don't want to bring it up, but I feel like I have to bring it up because I know
Uh-oh.
you and I are big baseball fans. You're a Mets fan. I'm a
I
Yankees
am.
fan. Unfortunately, the Yankees really blew it last night. Kind of disheartening a little bit. And I said to myself earlier in one of our meetings, and how I was not very optimistic. I thought the Yankees had a lot of flaws.
Hmm.
Um, and it seemed like they got through a lot, the first two series, even though they had some flaws in some games, some things that I alluded to, with the bullpen, with running the bases, with error, with fielding errors, and they really came to fruition in this series, unfortunately, especially last night. It
Yeah.
was it was terrible. It was terrible, unbelievable.
I mean, if you look at the National League versus the American League this year, I think the American League path to the World Series was much easier.
I would agree. I would agree.
And I think I saw a stat that's this morning that said in the Yankees last 92 games of the season or something like that, they were 45-47. So
Oh
they,
yeah.
and I was talking to a Yankee fan friend last night, and I was saying that, does it feel that they weren't really that good this year, but somehow made it this far? And she was agreeing with me. And then I saw that stat and I was like, yeah, I mean, they were a 500 team for a good period of the season, but that fifth
Yeah.
inning was so bad. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a game that important.
And the thing with that drives me crazy more than anything is there's two outs.
Yeah.
They can't get that
Yeah.
last game one, two outs. I mean, obviously
Hmm.
for it's the Freddie Freeman game's over. It's like you got that second out.
Hmm.
Great catch by Verdugo. And in game one, and then the home run, 2 outs, right? Even last night, he had I think he may have had 2 strikes on uh, on
On
Freeman
movie
last night.
bets.
What's that?
Oh, on Freeman in the single
Well,
that he hit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and obviously after Betts had, well, after they mess up the play at first base, and um,
that was ugly.
oh, it was. I watch it over and over again. And I got my brother, my cousin, my son on the group chat, everybody's texting, after the game, and like, you're talking about, you know, what's his name? The pitcher there,
Oh,
Cole.
Garrett Cole.
Not,
Yeah.
not not covering the base. I mean, that's something you work on in preseason, right? I mean,
Hmm.
you work on that, but I just think like Rizzo looked like just it was such a
He
weak
should have
ground ball.
charged it.
Charged it. Thank you,
I
thank
am
you,
a
man.
first
Thank you.
baseman. I used
Yeah,
to be a catcher. I'm a first baseman now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
watching him just wait for that weak ground ball to come to him, I couldn't believe it. I mean,
yeah,
I've seen so many highlights of 1986 because I wasn't alive yet, but it reminded me of that in the sense that it was like such a slow ground ball
yeah,
coming to him at first base and he just waited for it.
yeah,
If he had just
yeah,
charged the ball and continued running to first base,
yeah.
you're
And
out of it.
and such a weakly hit ball.
Yeah,
Like all you
exactly.
do is just charge a little bit, and obviously his momentum would have taken him and carried him towards first
Yeah.
base, and it would have been like a non-issue. And he just sat back there. Like I think he even backed up for a second. I'm just like,
I had
ah,
actually turned the game off. I'm a Knicks fan. So I was watching the Knicks play the
so was
Heat
I.
and, Carl Anthony Towns having a great game.
Yeah,
And my
yeah,
dad texted me and he said, are you watching the baseball game? It's like, oh no, I put the Knicks on and he's like, well, it's tied. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I
listen, I'm
was,
not a Yankee fan.
yeah,
Everybody knows that, but I certainly am not like I'm not going to cheer for the team from Los Angeles to win.
right.
Um, that just feels wrong.
Yeah,
And a lot of my friends and family are Yankee fans. So I don't want them to be sad. However, in my lifetime, they've won the championship 5 times. So
right, right.
I can only feel so sympathetic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been fortunate. Obviously witnessed a lot of. I mean, I was alive in '77 and '78, so I was a little
Right.
kid, but I do remember it. I do remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched every single NL East team win the World Series in my lifetime, except the Mets. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's and for me, I've watched every one of my. So I'm a Knicks, Yankees, Rangers, Giants fan, and
Mhm.
I've obviously seen the Yankees. Rangers have won one Stanley Cup, right?
Mhm.
Hallelujah. And then the Knicks, obviously the Giants have won Super Bowls, but the Knicks, I think they won in '73 was their last championship.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
been
I
a
was
while.
I was not even 3 years old yet. I was 2.5 years
Mhm.
old, so I have no recollection of that, obviously.
Yeah.
So I've been watching the Knicks for years. I'm just happy right now. I think they're in a good place because,
Mhm.
you know, um, they haven't they historically in the last 10 to 20 years they haven't been a good team. I feel like they're probably a shoe in for the playoffs again. Probably get top three, top four seed with the roster they have if they play the way they
Yeah.
should. I feel good about their team. I mean, I think the Celtics are like just
I
on another
know.
on another level, right?
It's nice that the Knicks are fun to watch again.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's been
that's my
so
point,
long that
right?
at
Right?
least like I'm a huge Rangers fan. I love the Rangers so
Yeah.
much. And at least, I mean, it's been very frustrating the last 10, 12 years, but at least they've been good
Yeah.
because I was I was 6 years old in 1994 and
Okay.
I remember them winning and
Yeah.
my mom woke me up. I was a little kid, so I was asleep, but my mom had woken me up and I got to watch them get the trophy and the Stanley
Yeah.
Cup and
Yeah.
in my bedroom I had two posters on my wall that I can remember anyway, and my bed was kind of in a corner and the one poster was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The other poster had Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky on it,
Oh, there you
and
go.
like when the Rangers let Messier go, I cried. Like
Oh, that
literally,
was awful. That
I
was
was
awful.
I was a kid, so I literally cried.
Yeah.
Um, I took the poster off my wall. My parents were like, "All right, relax. This is a good learning experience. Like
Oh my God.
this is gonna happen in your life." But it's been at least fun since 2012 that they've been good. But I'm
Yeah.
tired of them just being good. I need them to. And especially with this core, I feel like
Yeah.
they have to do it now. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
obviously going to have some contract issues potentially with Igor.
Yeah.
Um, so they've got to get it done.
I like their team. Their third line looks great right now. The other night they played in Washington. They had no legs the other night. I
Yeah, that
watched
was
that
bad.
game.
That was a bad
You know,
game.
it was amazing. Monday night was like, Monday was my birthday, so
I know.
my
It's a
wife and
bummer
I
for
out to
you.
dinner. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day, and I did the sports loss trifecta, and
Mhm.
Giants lost, and the Rangers lost, and then
Yep, and then
well,
the Yankees lost.
the Yankees lost. I mean, it was just like, wow, all on the same night.
I know.
Great, great, good times. Yeah, but this Rangers team, though, it's um, there's some guys I think they just like need to cut bait with or do something with. I mean, I'm not a big Lindgren fan.
Mm,
I think there's guys that are better skaters and players, and they got this Mancini kid. He looks pretty good, so we'll see what happens. But a guy like Mika Zibanejad's making a lot of money to not produce a lot of results, and
yeah, especially
I
in the playoffs.
yeah, but even like 2 years ago he had like 2 or 3 years ago he had like a phenomenal scoring season,
Hmm.
and but then he's like it's slowly like going down, and this year it's like sometimes you like I will say this, he does play great defense. He's a great two-way player, but he's just not putting up the numbers, and you look at other teams, the guys that are making 8, 9, $10 million a year, they're
Yeah,
putting up numbers, and Panarin's putting up numbers,
thank God.
uh, well, yeah, right, exactly, right, so I don't know, I don't think he can turn it around. I hopefully he turns it around. I mean, the saving grace I think for the Rangers right now is that third line. The third line looks really good.
Hmm.
Good young core. I like them a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to move on to hockey and basketball season, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Football's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just can't even be bothered to watch the Giants. They're boring. It's just
You
not
know, um, uh,
entertaining. I don't even care.
yeah. I'm stupid. I'll watch. Although I
No.
mean, I would say if there's something else going on a Sunday and I have a choice to like sit home and watch the Giants or do something else, I'm probably gonna do something else,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If they were 500, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm watching the Giants. You know what I mean? So, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. So when you go away, when you fly, obviously it's
Hmm.
a long trip. Do
Hmm.
you like to read? Do you read on the plane or?
Yeah. I mean, this trip I'm probably going to try to sleep. Um,
Okay.
just because my flight is at around 8:30 tomorrow night.
Okay.
So then we land in Madrid and whatever time in the morning. So I'm going to try to sleep. I'm not a great airplane sleeper. The only time I've ever been able to sleep on a plane is I've traveled to India twice on work projects,
Okay.
and we flew business class, and you get a nicer seat and it reclines all the way. And I actually did sleep, but
Okay.
I when I flew to Paris earlier this year, you kind of try to like stick your head up against the window and sleep a little bit, but I can't do it. I just uncomfortable. There's people
Yeah.
everywhere. It doesn't work for me. So I probably will. I'm bringing a book,
Okay.
but we'll see if it gets cracked open or not.
Well, what are you reading these days?
So I just finished a book actually that I really didn't like. Um, and I know some people are capable of just if they're reading something, my mom does. My mom's a big reader. If she doesn't like something, she just whatever, I'm not finishing this. But I have to get through it.
Right.
And I don't know, that's probably something that I should work on, because it's not like it's for school. Like no one is telling me that I have to finish this.
Yeah,
But for me, I guess when I start something, I want to finish it. Um,
I like that.
it was just not a great, I don't know. It was
What's the,
a
what book was that?
it was called The Bee Sting, and it was by an author named Paul Murray. Sorry, Paul Murray. I just really
Yeah.
did not love this book. And it
Oh,
was
cool.
one of the um, New York Times top 10 fiction books of 2023.
Right. Hmm.
So we have a local bookstore in Hoboken. It's called Little City Books, and I like to go there because it's a local small business. So if I'm going to buy a book, I try to buy them there.
Yeah.
And saw the book, bought it, and I just was not. I don't
Yeah.
know. Just it
Yeah.
was a fictional story, but it was a kind of a family and their family problems, and it was just depressing. The whole thing was depressing.
Oh,
There was no part
okay.
of it where I was like, "There's no redemption arc here." Like the
Well,
whole
well,
thing was,
and that's why you keep reading because you're
yeah,
hoping,
it's true.
right?
Yeah.
You're hoping it gets better,
Yeah.
right?
And I
Yep.
did read the back of the book, the
Yeah.
description, and I understood that this was not going to be like a happy, sunshiny beach read,
Right.
but I kind of like books like that.
Right. Right.
And a book I read last year that really stuck with me. Um, it's called The Heart's Invisible Furies, and it was a great book. It's fiction again, and it was not like a happy story, but there was parts of redemption to it. And when I put the book down, I it actually made me cry. So here I'm crying again, but and my mom had read the book too, and she didn't say anything to me, but when I finished it, she came over to me and she was like, "Are you okay?" Like, why didn't you tell me this was going to happen to me when I read this book?
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
but it was a great book. So this last one I was kind of a little bummed about, but I got
You went
through it.
from
And
you went from extremes. You went from crying reading one book, which obviously
yeah,
was obviously very good and very emotional, to a book that you go
yeah,
like, okay, you
I
just like
know.
had to get through.
I know. And
It's
every year I have a Goodreads account, and every year I try to set a reading goal to read a certain number of books.
yep.
Um, and I'm way behind this year.
Okay.
I think my goal was 20, and I've read 11 books this year, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna read 9 more books in 2 months, but you know,
I
give it a
I
shot.
go in phases. I go in phases. I know like I try to read a little bit each day if I can, but sometimes I
Hmm.
just get like so tied up with things and I don't. But anytime I travel, I love to travel just so I could read. Like when we
Yeah,
go, like if I travel for work and I gotta get on a plane, I like love that because I can read, kind of like it just puts me in the zone, and I'll read like for 4 hours straight on a flight.
yeah.
I love to do that. So
When I fly, my friends make fun of me for this, but we flying home from Portugal last year. We had the screens on the plane, which was nice, so you could watch a movie. And I watched I watched a movie called Top Hat, that I think Fred Astaire is in Top Hat, and it's this black
okay,
and white movie. And
yeah,
my friends was sitting kind of diagonally behind me on an aisle, and she waxed me and she's like, "What are you watching?" I don't know. It's an old movie, and I find myself doing that on airplanes. If there's old movies that I've heard of but I've never seen before,
yeah,
I will watch them because it feels like the perfect opportunity for me to watch this movie. Like I'm not gonna seek it out if I'm sitting on my couch here and perusing through Netflix or whatever. Netflix probably doesn't even have it. So
right,
on my way home from France this year, I watched Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Uh,
okay,
Paul Newman
yeah,
is in that movie, and I
yeah.
watched Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the rain. Okay,
I liked Singing in the Rain better, but I do love a musical. So.
yeah, yeah,
But I'm not gonna I'm not just going to sit here and think to myself, oh, I should watch Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That
a
was a
good
good time.
opportunity to, we'll
Absolutely.
see what the plane has tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
yeah. I tell you, I've always been. I mean, I've always been a talk about some of the old movies. I've always liked like Jimmy Stewart.
Oh yeah, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, obviously, it's such a staple around the holidays. But even like I think was it Vertigo was one of the movies he was in, and then FBI Story.
Oh,
FBI
okay.
Story is a
I'll have to check it
great.
out.
FBI Story is a great movie. It's just about family and life, and it just. I mean, it has to do with the FBI, but just
Right.
one individual's life path, and really incredible movie, really good movie.
Maybe you'll be on the
Really,
plane.
yeah, if it is, I would definitely watch that. And then Cary Grant, North by Northwest, that's such an incredible movie. Obviously very famous movie, a lot of famous scenes in that movie. So
Yeah.
really good, really good.
Yeah, yeah,
So
we'll see when I come back next week. I'll let you know what films I watched on the
yeah, no, that's
airplane.
yeah, I'm
Maybe
gonna
a
quiz
little
you.
Citizen Kane or something.
And I've seen that a couple of times. I
Yeah.
think the first time I watched it, I'm like, this is like top 5 of all time. I'm like, really?
Right.
I had to watch it again. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But the other movie that's I liked of Jimmy Stewart is Spirit of St. Louis.
Oh,
That's a
right. Yeah.
really, really good movie.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen that.
yeah, I just it's I like watching those movies because like obviously how simple things were.
Yes.
Obviously not only there's not cell phones. I mean, there's like a lot of times
Yeah.
there's not even phones. I
Right.
mean, or just how different things were, and yeah,
I watched last year Meet Me in St. Louis um
okay,
because Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the song comes from that movie. And
yeah,
it's a sad, that is a sad Christmas song when you listen
yeah,
to it. And actually a lot of Christmas songs are kind of sad when you think about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that one is very melancholy. So I'm
yeah,
like, I was home. I don't know if I was maybe decorating my apartment or something for Christmas. I'm like, I'm gonna put this on and see what the deal is here. And kind of like you said, like things were very simple, and that song is so sad. And just the premise of the movie was that this family, like the kids, they just didn't want to move out of San Luis. Like
right,
they wanted to
yeah,
stay where they were. Like
yeah,
that's it. Like,
yeah,
it was just so sad, and they just, I don't know, they didn't want to move to New York, I guess was the premise of the movie.
yeah, yeah,
That just made me laugh. Like you hear the song and you're like, wow, that must be about something must have really been going on in that movie. And then you get to the scene and it's like, okay.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
I
I
haven't.
do love like this time of year. I love the
Oh yeah,
holidays and
oh yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. My
I tell you, it's amazing. I mean, obviously the decorations come out earlier and earlier.
they
You
do,
know,
yeah.
I mean, they don't even wait till Halloween to get over before the Christmas decorations are out. And
I know.
we're obviously with the young kids and my wife being a school teacher, very into Halloween.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
can imagine.
yeah, my wife loves to decorate the house, for all holidays, and so that but I agree. I think once you hit November 1st, once tomorrow comes around, we'll be in full Thanksgiving and then eventually
Yeah.
Christmas. But Thanksgiving's late this year.
I know it is. I'm surprised by that. My claim to fame is that 3 years ago I was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That was like a lifelong dream of mine, and my
Yeah.
cousin was able to get us in the parade because she was working for Bloomingdale's corporate office,
Okay.
and Bloomingdale's is owned by Macy's.
Yeah.
So my cousin made my lifelong dream come true, and
Nice.
we were in the parade. So it was
Wow.
every time it comes around like this time of year, I start,
Yeah.
just reminiscing on when that happened.
My wife says that's one of the things that she wants to do is go to the parade one year, and I'm like, yeah.
If you could, if you could find someone who lives along the parade route and you could
Right.
watch it from their apartment, like they
Yeah.
do in
Seinfeld.
Miracle. Oh yeah, or on Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
SmackDown
yes,
episode, yes.
yes, yes.
But walking down the parade route and seeing all of the people there, I would not want to be in that crowd of people.
Yeah, yeah, that's my point. Yeah, but especially with the kids, and it's just yeah, yeah. Now let me tell you something. If like the Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, or Giants win the championship, oh, I'm there.
Yeah, I was
And
at the Liberty Parade last week.
oh, okay, nice, nice. That was a pretty good parade, I heard.
It was great.
Yeah,
There were so many people there, and it was just um it's just great to support, women's sports, and to
yeah,
see just how many people were there. It
yeah.
was really cool.
I can't believe that was their first championship.
Believe it.
I thought they won a
Believe
championship.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Holy cow! Wow.
Yeah, the local women's teams have really been holding it down, because the Gotham women's soccer team won the championship last season, and then the
Okay.
Liberty this
Yeah,
season. So at
yeah.
least the women have been pulling their weight.
That's right. That's right. Guys need to start pulling their weight.
Yeah,
Holy cow!
exactly.
Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, are you done packing yet, or what? You got to pack tonight, or what?
No, I'm mostly packed.
Good, good.
I I feel like if I keep looking into my suitcase, I'm just gonna drive myself crazy.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
um, it's pretty
yeah.
organized. It's ready to
Good,
go. Of course,
good.
I have a spreadsheet
Yeah.
that, it's my packing list, and I've got conditional formatting in there. So when I update things, they change colors, and um,
I
but
love
it
it.
works for
I love
me.
it. That's good. That's good. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone overseas ever, but
Ever.
no, I've never. I mean, the only time I've been out of
Okay.
this country is when I've been to Canada. So, oh, actually, I should say that. I went to St. Thomas for my honeymoon. So,
That counts.
that counts. That counts. And I thinking about it like so long ago. I'm like, yeah, St. Thomas. Yeah. But even like go away for a week or so. It's like I'm always you know very like I start early in the week, get my stuff together, and
Yeah.
'cause I hate rushing for anything at the end. I hate it.
I don't like rushing for anything, whether it's packing for a trip or an expert report. I don't like
Right?
leaving that to the last
Yeah.
minute.
Yes.
And nothing in my life. I like to get places early. I'm not
Yes.
I'm not a rusher. So
You're very much like me. That's probably why we work together. So there you go.
my bag's
I
packed, and I went to Portugal around this time last year, and I think the weather will be pretty similar. So I
yeah.
just tried to pack what I packed for that trip.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, hey, I wish you a great trip, and
Thank you.
look forward to catching up when you get back, and
Yeah.
sharing some
Yeah.
of your stories. And
Yeah. The movies I watched on the plane.
exactly, exactly. You gotta be like a Siskel and Ebert thing over here. You give us
Yeah,
your reviews and
exactly.
everything. Actually, between movies and book reviews, this would be a great combination, I think.
Listen, we can make this an all-around podcast: sports and entertainment, and
I
then,
like it.
and
Throw in a
encompassing what we
little,
do with work. It'll be great.
throw
I
in a
think
little
we're gonna have a
forensic
great
accounting
audience.
evaluation, right? I agree. I agree. Good, good. Well, have a great trip. We'll talk to you
Thank
when you
you.
get back, and thanks for coming on again today.
Thank you. It was great.